That smell. That smelly smell. That smells like Kenosha! We had to. It's 7:35 p.m. on this date, July 25th, 1936, and two train crew members are about to go for the ride of their life. In one case, it's going to be the very last for the engineer. What's up, guys? This is Heiss, and today we're at the summit of Kenosha Pass, which is where the Forest Service has very thoughtfully recreated part of the original Colorado and Southern right-of-way. What? Why? 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 Why?
Why?
Why? Kenosha is the summit, the peak between the route between Denver and Fairplay, Colorado, the South Park line. On July 25th, 1936, Extra 346 departs Como, which is further to the west of here, makes it up to the summit here at Kenosha, where Extra 346 becomes Extra 346 and Extra 537. Double heading downhill is typically a forbidden thing with steam locomotives because the locomotives can have a little interplay and cause some derailments, which we've seen on the Denver and Rio Grande Western. But in this case, it was not double heading downhill that caused the derailment. Extra 346 would make it less than a mile from this very spot down the hill before she'd come off the track. The track down past Summit to the east heading towards Denver is very straight and very steep downhill for almost a mile, where it then turns left gently, following into a compounding right-hand turn. And it was on this right-hand turn that 346 would derail, overspeed, fly off the tracks, and roll over onto her fireman's side.
Nothing's sacred or safe on Kenosha. Bones.
Bones! Look at the bones!
Bones!
Huge pointed teeth.
It is the rabbit.
It is the rabbit. Yeah, it's pretty nondescript over there. That's where she wrecked. Just, yeah.
There's the pass summit over there.
She made it like, it's like 4,300 feet, and it was just straight, and then just a little left turn, and then wow! Right turn, and she didn't make it.
So are we trespassing?
Maybe.
Filming our crimes?
Foot and horse travel permitted.
Ah, perfect.
All right. Her fireman, who had never actually fired over the road, this was his first adventure out there on the road, felt that something was awry, and on the left-hand turn, he jumped off of the locomotive, so he was spared. However, on the right-hand turn, the locomotive leans over, rolls over, and her engineer, Eugene Mickey McGowan, ended up getting pinned in the cab against the boiler. Mickey would pass away the next day due to his injuries from being burned and scalded to death, more or less. And it's kind of horrifying. Where's the railroad, you might ask? Well, look for the suspicious bump. It's kind of obvious. You can find old railroad grades like this all across the country. What was once here, the steam choo-choos, and a train wreck, right over there. That's where she rolled over. If you're ever wondering if something is a railroad grade or not, by the way, there's a really great website and app you can look at called rail.guide. And it's got pretty much every railroad in the States in existence. It's really handy, and you can map it out and see, oh yeah, that suspicious bump was in fact the CNS back in the day.
You can also just look for the pile of cinders next to the
Yeah, the cinders that have been there for basically 100 years that are still here. That's a bit of a giveaway. I'd like to make that point. Yeah, it's a 24-degree curve through here, so it's not quite as sharp as we have at the museum, but after 4,000 feet of 4% down, straight, bullet straight. Yeah, Jeff had matched pictures when we came last time. It's somewhere right around here.
Well, she kind of rolled over in the marshy area, which would be like right here.
Yeah, somewhere right up here. Hey, look, naturally occurring coal. It's kind of amazing how much is still here. I mean, they pulled up this line before
38.
38, yeah, I was gonna say it was before World War II. This is the start of the curve with the 20-degree portion where it graduates in. It's up there. The trees kind of give away most of the grade, but there's that slight left-hand curve first. That's where the fireman jumped because he thought they were going a little too quick. Turns out he was right. Speed limit for passenger trains is 25, apparently, and freight trains is 12. Light engine. The wreck report says she was doing 20 mile an hour, but for the fireman to jump, even if he hadn't been over the road but once to familiarize, they must have been scooting. And so that little left-hand turn into this big sweeping right-hand turn, and she didn't make it. She laid over somewhere right here. We should have brought a metal detector.
There's the curve sweeping along.
And so that's why the song speeds up. The joke of the song is that the first half is normal pace of the train leaving Como and heading up, making their stop in Jefferson, heading up Kenosha Pass from the west side, reaching the peak after the first chorus. And as they come down the long bullet straight, song speeds up and speeds up and speeds up until the inevitable happens right here. So it's always kind of wild being here and seeing it in person and going, oh, this is where it happened. This is where she rolled over. This is Grandma's big injury. This is where Eugene was dealt the injuries that would kill him. He died in the hospital the next day sometime. So what a horrifying, horrible existence. The cab basically collapsed in on him and he was pinned against the boiler, and no thanks. That's, just shoot me at that point, I think. 346 was being leased by the Colorado and Southern. She's a Denver and Rio Grande Western steam locomotive. But as it was the 1930s and the Rio Grande had gotten all of their big Ks, they didn't really need the little C-class engines that much, and so they had leased a couple of their engines to the CNS, who was having a surge of traffic. She'd only been leased by the railroad for a couple months, and what do? They wreck the shit out of it. Oops. In some ways, though, this wreck actually saved the locomotive. We don't know for sure what the railroad would have done, but had the Rio Grande wrecked the locomotive, they probably would have paved over the top of it and used it as riprap or a fill. They wouldn't have cared, it was a little C-class. But because it was leased and the lesser wrecked the locomotive, how dare you? You wrecked our locomotive. I can't believe that you could do such a thing.
As if to illustrate my point, the 343 was scrapped in 1941, and the 345 was scrapped in 1951. Little engines they didn't care about, and you can see the rest of the scrap dates from the rest of the C-19s, all considerably early, some of which actually were earlier than 346's wreck. So, they really didn't care about those engines, so it's a miracle that 346 and her two sisters survive.
The D&RGW made the CNS repair the locomotive, and so she went to the CB&Q/CNS joint shops in Denver, got a total rebuild. It's where she got her funny sand dome, and it's where she got her steel cab. It was that rebuild that would allow 346 to survive. She served a couple more years on the Colorado and Southern, then she went back to the D&RGW, where she ended up as the Durango Switcher, as every 280 that the D&RGW ever did had. But because she was rebuilt by the CNS, she was in pretty decent shape after that wreck. And so she survived long enough to be sold off to the lumber company, where ultimately Robert W. Richardson would purchase her. And now she's been at the Colorado Railroad Museum and been in operation since 1962. So it's kind of like the wreck is what saved the locomotive. Anyways, guys, that's a little bit about the story of 346's wreck and here on Kenosha Pass. And of course, that is what spawned my song, Smells Like Kenosha, where we joke pretty much in poor taste about Mickey being drunk while he was operating the locomotive, and that's why he wrecked. It does say that he was without a care in the world in the report, so maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, maybe he fell asleep, maybe he had a bad day. Either way, yeah, that was it. That was the last run of Mickey McGowan, and 346 wrecked, and 90 years later, I wrote a dumb song about it, and now it's a meme, and it's used in lots of videos, and I never thought anyone would get it, but here you are. All of you do. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll catch you all next time. Thanks so much for watching. You're in danger.
Yep, I'm on Kenosha. I'm in danger. Ah!